This week on Inside Boulder News, if disaster hits, would you know what to do? The City of Boulder kicks off resilience training. A 26-foot animated tumbleweed rolls into town. And don't look down. A man on a wire crosses Eldorado Canyon, hundreds of feet in the air. Welcome to Inside Boulder News, your chance to share your stories, get involved, and keep up to date on all things Boulder. I'm Kristen Scovira. Whether it's a fire, a flood, or an economic downturn, the City of Boulder believes we're always better together. Now Boulder residents can participate in a new set of courses designed to prepare us for whatever comes our way. The Better Together course is just one of several initiatives in the city's resilience strategy. Made up of 3 classes, the course helps participants develop the skills they'll need to protect their families, their neighbors, and themselves in any emergency situation.
A sudden shock is going to be a sharp, disruptive issue like a flood or a fire, whereas a stress is going to be something that is underlying. It's something that weakens the fabric of our society on a day-to-day basis. A good example of that could be traffic or invasive species or affordable housing, and shocks tend to expose stresses.
Mackenzie Bolai is with the city's resiliency office. She says preparing a city to work together during hard times not only helps the community bounce back, but helps it bounce forward. And this first round of classes?
It was amazing. We had the best session. Everyone was engaged, everyone was excited. And the idea is that people and neighborhoods get a sense of how they can be prepared and be resilient to these issues autonomously. Obviously, there's a big city structure and there's lots of people working hard to keep everyone in Boulder safe, but the idea behind this is that our neighborhoods and our individual households can do all the things that they can do to be as prepared as they can be.
Boulder is one of 100 resilient cities, an effort by the Rockefeller Foundation to build resilience in cities worldwide. For more information, visit resilientboulder.com. Every year, more than 500,000 visitors come to Chautauqua trails. They enjoy the park, they use the nearby lodging, but all that traffic and no sidewalk on the south side of Baseline, where cars, bikes, and people share the road. Now, that's about to change. Starting November 1st, the city will begin an important project on one of Boulder's most visited and beloved sites.
We've been planning through 2016, and now we're ready to start construction.
Melanie Sloan, a city transportation planner, says this construction project is all about safety and accessibility.
That was identified in the 2014 Community Culture and Safety Tax Ballot Initiative that voters approved for improvements across the city, and Chautauqua being one of them.
The project will cost about $1.5 million and will create sidewalks, pedestrian crossing areas, improve the nearby transit stop, and add some much-needed lighting. Since there aren't any sidewalks now, there won't be any pedestrian detours, but the project will take parking from the south side of Baseline, so the construction crews have a safe place to work. And like any project of this size and scale, there will be some impact on the trees and natural vegetation.
We're going to preserve and protect as many of the mature trees that are in the park as possible, but we will have to remove several trees. About 12 trees along Chautauqua Meadow will be removed and about 25 within the Chautauqua Park.
Melanie says this will give planners an opportunity to replant and restore the area.
Once the project is completed, we'll be working with open space and mountain parks to replant, to incorporate more native species, to replace the non-native species removed by our project, and also to improve the habitat within the meadow.
The project will take about 6 months, from November to the end of March. For more information, visit bouldertransportation.net. Well, have you seen the city's latest art installation? It's called Rome, and it rolled into town this week. This sculpture is a 26-foot animated tumbleweed created by artist John Geiger. The abstract sculpture is made up of 5 neon structures, and when they light up, they create a tumbling effect.
This is a sculpture that combines 3 Western icons. So it combines the structure of a billboard, the advertising neon, and the form of an animated tumbleweed, or 5 different tumbleweeds.
The sculpture is located across from the Boulder Museum of Contemporary Art and will stay there until February. The art was commissioned by Black Cube, a nonprofit, nomadic, contemporary art museum. Black Cube artwork is usually experienced through pop-up art exhibits like this one.
This location is very special to us because John Geiger has his undergraduate degree from CU.
Mandy Vink is the public art coordinator for the Boulder Public Library. She says this exhibit is part of the city's community cultural plan.
In November of 2015, City Council adopted the Community Cultural Plan, which was a charge to infiltrate Boulder with a lot more art. And so with that, we started the public art program. This is one temporary piece that will be a part of that.
For more information, visit blackcubeart.org and boulderarts.org. History came alive over the weekend as Columbia Cemetery invited the Boulder community to meet the spirits. Local historians volunteered their time dressing up and retelling the stories of Boulder's most famous and infamous graveyard inhabitants. The event is not only a lesson in history, it's also a way to raise money for cemetery conservation efforts.
And so this slaps on.
One member of the
Right
Columbia
there.
Cemetery Conservation Corps, Jack Box, introduced visitors to Army veteran Edward Baker, a Buffalo soldier in the 9th U.S. Cavalry who was just recently discovered, identified, and awarded his own marker, sent all the way from Washington, D.C. Columbia Cemetery has been managed by the city since 1966, but relies upon community and volunteer support. For more information about the city's graveyard and how you can help with conservation efforts, visit the city's website and search Columbia Cemetery Conservation. She's all about making a grand entrance, and now, 5 decades and 4 Ralphies later, CU's beloved mascot is celebrating 50 years in Boulder. In 1934, the buffalo was chosen as the first official CU mascot. The first live buffalo was brought on campus in 1966, and now you can tour 5 decades of buffalo nostalgia at a new exhibit called Here Comes Ralphie at the CU Heritage Center. You'll find Ralphie t-shirts, handler uniforms, and dozens of photos. The Heritage Center is open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and admission is free. This year marks the 50th anniversary of Ralphie being given to the university. Next year will be the 50th anniversary of her first run on the football field. Expect a big celebration in her honor. For more information about the Here Comes Ralphie exhibit, visit cuheritage.org. They're gutsy, maybe crazy, but they're definitely not slackers. Take a look at this video.
So when the wind comes, the whole line can shift 15 to 20 feet one way or another, and so that's pretty heady.
That's Taylor Van Allen of Morrison, slacklining more than 400 feet high above Eldorado Canyon. Taylor was leashed to the line, so this stunt is really considered highlining because there are safeguards in place.
I'm 25. I got into slacklining about 6 years ago. You know, always wanted a high line and just kept standing up and falling off a bunch, and slowly over time got longer and longer lines and started going higher and higher.
Any kind of slacklining is usually prohibited in Eldorado State Park. Taylor and his crew had to get special permission ahead of time. It took Taylor under 20 minutes to complete his walk, 18 minutes to be precise.
Not trying to focus on the exposure and the height and everything, because those are the things that are gonna, discourage you and make you fall.
Taylor is not the first person to attempt this crossing. He was retracing the steps of showman and aviation daredevil Ivy Baldwin, a legendary tightrope walker who crossed the canyon more than 80 times between 1902 and 1948.
Ivy Baldwin is a huge part of the canyon and has a huge history, and he's a legend there. And the town was really waiting for a return of that experience.
This event was organized by the Action Committee for Eldorado and Slackline Industries. It was used to raise money for Eldorado State Park.
I spoke to a park ranger who says this event was a great success and they sold about 300 tickets. This money will directly support trail maintenance. Thank you so much for watching this week's edition of Inside Boulder News. If you have pictures, news tips, or events you'd like to see featured, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe.